Hi, I'm Mutation CIP, and we're doing something a little bit different today. I don't think I've actually recorded a video episode, what have you, for the second channel before. But I actually want to update the little VTuber, the little thing you're seeing right now, this little guy. And I figured I'd actually take y'all along for the ride this time, because I've done this several times now. I think this VTuber is like the 6th or 7th odd one I've made. I am struggling. I made a lot of PNG tubers, but actually rigging VTubers, I've still made quite a few. There were several iterations of when I used to have the pink Mew guy. I think there were at least 2 or 3 of those, and then there was another instance of a slightly different Mew that was still the Skelly one that I changed out the color so he was a lot more pale, and then I finally just used the actual colors that you see in front of you. But I actually just want to go through and show basically my process with this. I'm going a little more in-depth on this process because I want to pick apart exactly how I want to do this and use some tricks I've seen via videos or learned myself, or some theoretical tricks that I want to test out, which might just also be from a video and I've forgotten. But let's get into this, and I'm just gonna reuse my gameplay. I'm just reusing the gameplay. We're gonna get rid of the chat and everything. So this is what I've been working with. I did this several days ago as just a little test out of how it would work, as well as some little practice of references and how I like to draw people. Because usually Mew, I literally just boop, 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 little skull, dupe here, ta-da. Oh, I forgot it here, dupe. And then you put a couple eyeballs down here and you got a little guy. Congratulations. How I draw literally anything and everything else is usually a complex mass of muscles, because that's the only way my brain breaks up anatomy, apparently. But that's not as helpful when you are trying to build an entire VTuber. So we have this lovely little thing. Also, I think it'd be funny just to mention this, and this is a fact. I have a pencil. I have like a proper, little stylus pen thing. I have like a XP pen. It's one of their like little tablet projects. It's just a little USB thing. I have it. I don't use it. I am just actively using my mouse. I think it's so funny to mention every time, and also bring up the fact that this has correction 0 up here. I just think it's really funny. So if you hear sporadic mouse clicking behind my mic, it's because I'm just using my mouse to draw. That is the exact reason why. But this is the general gist of Mew's anatomy. The little skelly boy, my little skelly bat? That's usually what I call him, skulkback, skelly bat. It's nothing super complex, it's just kind of comical, basic little bones. Because I'm not drawing all the frickin' bones for a wrist. I am not doing that. If you are not aware, a wrist has like some odd 12, 16 tiny bones in it. I am not drawing all those. So he gets the little fake bones. Technically he doesn't have a wrist, I don't even bother with it. It's just floating. But this is the general gist, and from here I need to figure out several things before I actually get into the final thing. I'm really tempted literally to take this verbatim into a new file for actually doing the line art. I am seriously tempted to go for that. But before we even get into that, I'm gonna make a new layer here and lock this one so I don't accidentally draw over it. I need to figure out how we're layering all this, because I could go really basic with all this. I kinda did a little bit for this current VTuber. Like, I could make all of this down here one layer, or I can break it up to this is this hip, there's the belt here, or belt buckle specifically, and then there's the belt itself, and then the pants. Or it could all be one. Those are absolutely options. I really like being able to have each of these bones individual, even if I do get lazy when I'm actually rigging this all together, and I do plan on showing the rigging part as well. There's a few, this is not going to be a tutorial, absolutely not. But I can show, hey, here's some things I do and some tricks I learned when doing this, because I have not ever used the premium version. I've still just used the free version, so I learned, hey, I can't actually, you can only like put so many parameters on one thing, which is telling it, oh, you can do this or this. You can only do A, B, you're not allowed to tell it to do a C. So I put another folder over it containing the A, B, and then I tell A, B, hey, do C, D, and I do that over and over until I have all the parameters I want. But the large part of this is figuring out how exactly do I want everything to rest and what things do I want to move is the current issue. So I'm actually going to move this layer below. I don't care about the bottom part. I don't even know if I'm going to show this. I'm kind of tempted to just cut him off here, which is what my current one is actually. If I move around him, if I get rid of this, he is just cut off at the bottom. He's just cut off. You don't even notice. You don't even realize. So it would genuinely save me a fair amount of time if I do that cut off. I think we will just cut off from specifically the waistline. Last time I just did the shirt itself, but the waistline helps me have an easier cutoff as well. So I can just line up the waist to the bottom of the screen when have him set up on the actual streams. So we're just gonna do a solid, yeah, ignore this area. We don't care about this. I'll still do the hands, I think. I really tempted to make a couple different forms of Mew. That is to say a couple different states so I can move around his arms some more. But I don't think that's strictly necessary. But I would still like to actually like have his full arms going. Did I even bother with the hands? I can't remember. Genuinely. No, I'd even bother with forearms. So yeah, we'll just ignore hands. We're just gonna ignore everything down here. So that helps a lot with, oh, what do I need to do? What needs to get done? That actually cuts my work in half. I want some amount of leeway here and there, but I don't need a serious amount going on. It's a little harder to see, so I'm gonna try to start picking things out. It's even hard for me to see, and I'm the one that drew it. But there's the first overshirt here. I've been tempted a few times to maybe change it, so it's just like a normal shirt or something, even one of my normal outfits, because I did a doodle recently of Mew in some of the outfits I personally wear. As a little practice. I should be able to just open it as a layer. I did this cute little thing if I get rid of everything else. I kind of just want to draw him in the leather jacket, honestly. Or a hoodie would be kind of cool to have him in. I'm leaning towards the leather jacket though. But I like his design as is, so we stick with this for now. Until I decide I absolutely want to do something else. Gonna change to a different color. And then this is the next area that's pretty distinct, is the undershirt, the little button up. And then from there, you can actually start to see what's going on here now that I have those picked out. Because you can actually see where the bones are and aren't supposed to be seen. And then the next part I need to really figure out is, how are we dealing with the hair? Because I have it pushed off to the side this way. This is how I've always drawn it. But if he faces the other way, I suddenly push it to the other side. And I genuinely don't know what I'm doing for the back of his head. I don't think I've ever actually thought about the back of Mew's head. I don't think I've drawn it either. He just kind of... It's like looking straight forward at like a Simpson. You just don't. Or looking straight forward at Phineas, I think would be a better example. But these for sure. Actually, I forgot I wanted to do this so I could have some more leeway with how I'm angling these. Because the hitboxes get really weird, so I'd much rather completely separate the wings and the ears. Even though, realistically, they are connected. Having them separate is going to make this so much easier when it comes to actually rigging it and figuring out the angles I need. Because I need this to go back, and I need to be able to hide this part of the wing behind the ear. So realistically, I need it a little more like that. And then of course, I should probably not do that color. The eyeballs will each be their own thing, in addition to the little nose. And a nice trick I saw somebody recommend. This was particularly for mouths, but it was really good for eyes too. When you're exporting it into a file to actually like rig it, instead of keeping it tiny, because when you're transforming it, it's gonna make it look really weird. And these things on the face need to transform a lot. Before you're like rigging it, exporting it, make it really big on the canvas. So it's a lot more smooth when you're transforming it a lot. And the fun part herein lies dealing with each of the bones. Because I know at the very least, these gotta be separate. And we're probably gonna see a little bit of that down here. And then there's another piece of bone here. And then, of course, we got them hips. The little hip bones, the pelvis. Probably a specific name for this part of the pelvis, but whatever. I'm gonna use a pink for this. And then I kind of want to do this separate from the waistband so I could have more leeway. I don't think I need too much leeway with transforming that actually. Because what my brain's telling me is as I'm moving this, it's like, I think the fastest way for me to show this off. We're gonna take all that into one folder and then copy paste so it's one layer all by itself. I do this a lot with thumbnails, that's super helpful. So when I'm transforming, if I need him to look this way, I'm gonna need to transform this like this. But that doesn't affect the belt too much. I don't need this to be super adjusted when he's looking left or if he's looking right. There's not too much I need to do with that. So I think we'll just leave that as all one piece. Now the other thing is how much do I actually want to separate the, because the ribs do affect a little bit of perspective. And I feel like best case scenario, I think I need to separate them. Because what my brain's currently thinking is this bone, in order to like make it seem like he's starting to face this way, is I'm gonna want to elongate this and move this, and I'm gonna need it to be separate from the bone behind that connects it up. Different colors, so this makes sense. Connect it up to the spine. Those all need to be 3 different things. And because I'm kind of doing this at different angles, I could possibly get away with having these all be the same. Because when you're exporting this, I could literally just I could make one eye and then mirror the parameters to the second eye. I can do the same thing for the ears. I can do the same thing for the arms. The ribs, you can probably copy paste all of these, but I want them, I could do that, hold on. Because what I'm thinking is like, oh, it'll look wonky moving it about. But if I just do a slight change to show, hey, this is the main one, this one goes up, this one goes down a little bit, then I should be able to get away with literally drawing one pair of ribs and a spine and then be fine. That should all be more than okay. So I'm gonna completely color in this one to establish that I need these to be separate. Let's do this. Probably best to do the back rib first, and then do this one, and then do this one. And from there, I'm just gonna color the ends. I don't need to color just a tiny bit there. And also there's the little bones here that you'll see a tiny bit of, but I will be doing those separate. And then of course, each of these unfortunately will be their own thing, but it also allows me a lot of leeway when I'm building him up and rigging him. And if I get really lazy, I can just take all of these and put them in one folder and then adjust it like that. I'd much rather start with them all being separate files and decide later I want them to all be one thing than want them to be one thing, or make them one thing and want them to be separately. And there is one little guy that isn't here. On my chest, you can kind of see this little ghosty thing. It's based off, because my character's slightly based off the big old warden guy. That is just Among Us. Warden, there we go. That is almost a demon. Warden? Now you see where my ears came from and how I very quickly dropped it very shortly after making it. Warden. And then just the Minecraft bat. Yeah, yep, bat. Okay, yeah, bat, yeah. That looks horrid. We're gonna leave it like that. That's fine. That's okay. That's a little bit cuter. But I do have the little ghosty thing as well. I haven't drawn him on this, but he will also be that. You can't see that at all. He will also be sitting right here above and between all this, which also helps and puts a point towards me having this different. So I can put him between the front like little ribs and my actual spinal cord. So it helps with my layering and faking the depth as well. That took me like way less time. I love having ADHD because I've been antsy over everything I need to do today. I've been recording not even 20 minutes. Gotta love it. I didn't get this done yesterday because I was yeah. Well, technically I was supposed to do a different thing yesterday. I was supposed to go through and figure out, oh, how does he look in a 3D setting? Because these were just little things I need to figure out the back of his head and all that. I didn't do that, but I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. So, and then I gotta go through and sketch this boy. So I think I'll just put in a little time lapse here if I do. And we're probably just going to cut over to me doing line art and talking a little bit more about layering in the actual, like, your actual not editing software, art software before getting it over to Live 2D. And so, a little while later, we finally have a condensed version of everything I could need. A little trick I wanted to try using out this time to kind of fake having some sort of line weight to this is as I'm moving it around and rigging it, I have a second layer that did not get correctly changed. Gonna boop that. I'll have a second layer that's completely black so I can kind of mimic as if there is a shadow there. and help it really line. And it's gonna be so weird having a different one. I made him a little different. This is how I draw him nowadays, a lot. It's a little different compared to what I've been doing. But I do like it, I really do. I'm kind of tempted to make it different, but this is how I've been drawing him anyway, so I think it works out. And I think this is part of the video. If you made it this far, maybe put down a like. It'd really help me out a lot. Also, I'm gonna lower the nose. There we go. That makes him look a little bit less goofy. Also lower the eyes a tiny bit. There we go. It looks less goofy that way. But I think that's literally, I don't have a lot to say on this part. The best advice I could really give with this is while you're layering everything out and drawing all this out, I actually have two versions of this file. One is named Mutuber and this one's named Mutuber Condensed. So I drew everything, took everything together, and then did a new save file called Condensed, where I saved all the layers together so I can still go back and fix these even though this is all one layer. And also sometimes there's ways to fix the things you want. Like I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with the little hairpiece there, so I just made it another little bang that's gonna go on top. Actually, I think that might be better if I lower it a little bit. No, it's just kind of fine right there. Okay, or a little off to the side. Nah, I think it's fine as is. Okay, but that is everything left really. Now all I gotta do is go in and start rigging this. At this point, it's been a little bit. I've been spending some time clearly stuttering over my words. I've been spending some time rigging. I figured I'd do a little check-in in the middle of all this and show some of the theory of what I'm trying to do and how it's ended up in practice. So you can see there's a lot of boxes going around. I can't do too much about that unless I can, which I don't know how. But I have now rigged it and set it up so he moves around. This is what I've decided for the bang. I'm not proud of it, but it works. And you can see where the second layer, the little shade has come in. That's not a good spot to show that off. If I tilt this up, you can see there's a shade going on there if I click the right actual thing, and it creates this form of depth. And I really wanted to try making this happen this time because I thought it'd be really interesting to go about. And it is a fantastic way to go about this method that you would usually see like line weight and such in art to help you tell which direction something's looking. And that's a little harder to do on a VTuber, but I have done it. I have done it. It has line weight that moves with it, which is fantastic, and he looks so good. I love him. And of course there's the eyeballs that move around, and I did it so it moves the skull just a little bit, just a tiny bit, just a little. And of course there's the little smiling eyes, and then there's closed eyes. And the reason it's sitting at this particular spot and not all the way, because all the way is shocked eyeballs, which look really silly when they're moving around. And I love them very dearly. I love the closed eyes too. They are very cute. They are adorable. And then he goes bloop 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 and bloop 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 bloop. And that's the reason I have that nether vertebrae here. I actually ended up adding that way later, so it's literally called Vert 0. But I wanted you to be able to still see a little bit of the neck and see the neck actually attached to the head, because I don't actually have that on the current model. And this is definitely a far simpler model than what I am currently rocking right now, but it's also more accurate to how I want Mew to be perceived. So I am trading off a little bit more stylization. Technically, this is the other end of the stylization. It's just more in brand with the emotes and such I do, which are just tiny little doodle, versus being heavily stylized to a more realistic style. This is far more cartoony. Current one I got is far more realistic. Also, I'm gonna quickly plug in my favorite person to use to help me with these tutorials and making sure I know what is what, and I make sure I know if I unlink these for a second, going left on the Y is down and going up on the Y is Z. I've been using Merrily Wolfie for her tutorial. Her tutorial is, there's probably a more recent version, has been absolutely fantastic. Every time I have to go back through and make a new YouTuber or make some sort of VTuber, this is what I use. She's fantastic about explaining the different things and going through everything, especially if you're a first timer. It is absolutely great. And a lot of the time in the comments, people offer different ideas of how to go about things. And of course, there's also my own technique of, hey, I can't, you can only put like so many parameters on something if you only have the free version. So I literally, here's the left eye with its 2 parameters, and then I did another one. I just put a bunch of warp deformers on everything. So this has the eye open and smile. This one has the eyeball movement, and then this one has the eye movement itself. Granted, I have a very interesting PNG tuber, or not PNG, VTuber. I have a very interesting VTuber who does not follow the typical rigging needs. I do not have a mouth to rig. I have tried in the past to maybe make it look like the little teeth of the skull we're talking. It does not look good. It just looks really freaking wonky the moment I start moving. So I've opted to, you know, just not have him have an actual mouth. And then my eyes, these little, what do we want to call them? Sockets. We're gonna go with that. The sockets of Mew also act as his pupils, and it's not just a blank pupil socket, which most skeleton OCs or characters, creatures, so on, would have. He's cartoony, so the sockets move as I want them to. So his sockets, his sclera, his full eyeball also acts as a pupil. So I have to get really creative about how I rig it. But it also means I don't have to deal with a lot of the extra BS of eyeballs. A lot of Mew at this point, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, he's just made for rigging. The character himself is just made to be really easy to rig. There's not a lot of things going on here. I only made it more difficult for myself because I wanted a very specific way he moved around. Because I could have done this super easily by literally going, yep, you move left now. But I went through and individually rigged each one so it moves the very specific way I want it to. And I feel like that's going to be definitely worth it in the long haul. And I am loving it dearly because you can kind of tell that I did it. If you know anything about rigging, you can tell I kind of shortcut a fair amount on the different perspectives of Mew's face, and you can see it happening as I turn back and forth a lot right here. But this one, I feel like it's not going to be as, except for the bank, it's not going to be as noticeable. I have specifically gone through to make sure this is as fluid as I could really get it. But I'll be back in a few hours to show off if I've done any tricks for the body half of Mew, which should take way less time, far less time. And then we'll see how he does. I finally finished rigging it and everything, and this is the first time opening it, so we're gonna see how this does. We're gonna try. Oh, yep. I am very pleased. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to rig this a little bit. He's so bouncy. I love it. Oh, this is I love him. I think this is the first time I've really got something rigged correctly on the first try. He's so bouncy. He's adorable. The bang is gonna look so weird though. It's meant to be there. I think I might just get rid of it though. It's silly, but half of these angles, like going back and forth, it just looks really wonky instead of looking correct. I think there is a way I can fix this actually. Hold on. I have an idea that's gonna sound a little silly, but I have an idea for how to fix this. We're going right back into VTuber Studio, or the Live 2D. Welcome to all my parameters. Also, I found out that there's only a limit of like 50 of these deformers. So I realized with the depth, you don't really need a deformer for it. You can just assign it to the things because you're not changing it a lot is the thing. If you're changing something a lot, then you definitely want a deformer. If you're not changing something a lot, then you can literally just attach it, which is what I need for the shading. The shading literally just moves a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit right, a little bit left. I want to find my bang, and specifically this. So what I want to do is as it faces this way, I want to put just like another key point at 2.1 where it's all the way over to the other side. So very rarely do we have that weird awkward thing. I could just fully get rid of it and just not have the bang exist at all, which might honestly be better. I think we're gonna do that. So let's undo what we just did. Undo the trials and tribulations. And we're just gonna delete that. There we go. And now I gotta export it all again. And it's gone! It's gone! There we go. Fantastic. He looks so adorable. To think I made him in like 3 days, something like that. I've gotten really good at streamlining the process, which helps. A whole lot. 4 days, I think. I love all the movement this guy has too. I might fidget a little bit more with it. Granted, I'm usually pretty still. I don't move a whole lot, so having him be this expressive could be seriously helpful. There is a very subtle breathing animation if you focus solely on my chest where the soul is. I did add a little breathe animation. So he's existing. He's fully existing, and it's adorable. All in all, I think that's great. I might go and change more of the parameters. You can't see me changing any of this at all, but this is fantastic. I am very pleased with this. Let me go back to like my normal recording scene and not just my stream chatting scene. There we go. There's the new VTuber. I love him. He's so cute. He's definitely different. He's very much so different, but I love him. I love him very dearly. He might be moving a bit too much. I'm gonna change that a lot more until I like the way it looks. So it'll probably look a little bit different by the time it actually gets to stream, which should be tomorrow. This is actually gonna go up several days after the stream. So it will already be up on YouTube. It should already be available, and you can see the new VTuber in a stream. Because currently, as recording this, it is Friday. Tomorrow will be Saturday, where I will show off the VTuber, and hopefully I'll have all the parameters figured out. And then I won't be streaming Sunday because that's Easter, and this will go up on Wednesday. Thank you all for joining me. It's not common that I'll probably be outright recording stuff for the second channel. So if you like this kind of content, I plan on doing more stuff like this, how-tos, behind the scenes kind of stuff, and like general just talking towards with the camera, what have you. On the main channel, there's going to be some actually recorded stuff coming out soon here. I'm planning on going back to really focusing fully on recording and having streams as just a fun little connection thing on the side. So I think with all that said and done, you are already here on the second channel, so congratulations who found me. Leave a little like, subscribe, it will really help me out. This is the second channel, as I've said many times in the past minute, so it doesn't have nearly as much attention. We're at 30 subscribers as of recording this. The main one's at like 600. So you can always go over and subscribe to the main one. That's where most of my content lies. And then, of course, there's Twitch, where I stream every weekend at 7 p.m. PST, minus, like, holidays. But I think that'll officially be it. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Mutation CIP, and this is Hardcore. Obviously not the hardcore you're probably used to. This is my mod pack, The Amalgamation. We're currently on 1.6.2, which is a beta for the multiplayer update.